Hello, welcome to the second stream of The Other Side game development. Today I'm going to be working on some level design tweaks. Since this is going to be a mobile game, I'm going to have to deal with like very different aspect ratios. So this is currently the sort of aspect ratio for tablets, which is, I guess, very different from how things look when it's in how do you call it? When it's in 16:9, So this is the normal sort of aspect ratio that I'm working with as a sort of base. And yeah, so I just need to sort of make sure that it works nicely with the tablet aspect ratio as well. So I've tweaked this level. There were some missing tiles here on both sides. And so now it looks fine. This one also looks okay, I think, now. Basically, they kind of looked a bit broken when you were playing in tablet mode because of just like more space being at the bottom and at the top as well. This is actually now causing problems with being back in portrait mode, or oops, in 16:9 aspect ratio. Like tiles seem to sort of, you can see the sort of tree here, for instance, going off screen way more than it should. It should basically sort of scale the way this box here does towards the edge of the screen, and that's something that is currently not working, I guess, in this aspect ratio, because there's just like one row too many at the bottom and at the top. So over here you can see like it's also just barely scaling to the edge over here, and you should be able to see that happen properly. But I'm gonna sort of live with that for now, because at least it works properly with the tablet aspect ratio as well. Just reload. Yeah, so I think I'd rather have it work on both than being actually broken, or like looking really broken on one of them. So yeah, this level seems to be fine as well. I haven't done much of the sort of like visual tweaks that I mentioned I wanted to do last stream, because of time constraints. It took me a lot of time to figure out how to get this to work on a MacBook, because I don't have access to an Apple computer at the moment properly, so like getting things on test flight is somewhat convoluted, but yeah. I also tweaked this here, like the little spiral sort of tile, to not have the cap that it used to have. And I think it kind of looks a bit more interesting, at least. So this level also needs a bit of tweaking, as you can see at the bottom here. So this is because the level sort of snaps to the center of the map, and currently the center of the map is sort of offset towards the bottom because of all these empty tiles here, or like opaque tiles. So maybe we can have a look at this level. This one is number 6, I think. Yes. Okay, so click level 6. I can go to my tile map editor. So according to this map, it shouldn't really be offset as far as I know. How big is this map? Let's see. Just a second. Just a minute, I'm sorry. Okay. Just trying to figure out sort of the logistics of only having one screen, and doing some streaming stuff. Right, so it doesn't seem to be offset particularly. Like, where's the center? I need to like find the center. Let's use this character as the center. It's the antagonist. Currently it's not implemented as of yet. Just call this one test layer, just sort of give myself an idea. And then map. So what is the size? 15 by 15. Okay, so 5, 6, 7. So it should be like somewhere over here, I think. 5, 6, 7. This should be the center of the screen. Let's have a look in level 6. Here we go. Hey Cell, welcome to this stream. So supposedly this is the center of the level, which seems correct, but visually this, like, it seems to be more of a like a tile just above it where this character is right now. Something along those lines. So maybe I can sort of like shift it down a bit. How can I do that? So if I remove these two bottom rows, maybe that would help. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, basically the position of the camera gets determined automatically based on the size of the map. And currently, like in some levels, it doesn't quite work nicely. So I'm just going to delete this layer again, save, and see if this centers the map more properly. So it's a bit of a sort of hacky way of moving things around. I'm not even sure that actually did anything. Let's have a look at the code just to sort of see what it actually does. So at start, we invoke update position, and we are using this to find the center of the grid. And this is based off of this object here. Let's see. So we have the tile manager here. We have this object, the parallelepiped. And based on this size, it will find the center of the grid. So the grid being 15 by 15, which is this sort of like default size that it had. Let's just draw it actually in the scene view. So it should be placing a object, or like it should be placing the camera at, let's see, what is this position? Yes, this is fine. So it should be placing this at 15 divided by 2. Whoops. What happened? Oh, pressed the wrong key. 7.5. So this is where the center should be. So let's call this center of grid. So it should basically move this camera to this location, 7.5, 7.5. And Let's see where we need to actually place it. Manesh says, "Hi Florian. Hello. Welcome to the stream." Everybody's so nice. Okay, so this is also at that correct location. Yeah, it somehow sort of feels a bit off. Let's just manually move it around and see if we can figure out where we should place it. So if you place the camera at this location, does that feel better? I think it does, kind of. Not quite sure. It's very low, I guess, compared to where the actual sort of gameplay zone is ending, which is over here. Yeah, maybe it's actually correct, but it just feels a bit empty at the bottom. I don't know why. Maybe we should just add a row of stuff in there and see if that helps. So yeah, again, what I'm doing right now is very sort of patching up holes, just to sort of like get this demo working. But what, yeah, like I'd rather have like a working demo than that doesn't require too much sort of new stuff to be made and actually like a lot of reworking all those systems and that kind of stuff. Like right now, it's not really the time to sort of compromise the integrity of the code or whatever. I'm just going to add another row just to sort of see if that feels better. So it's very much like, yeah, sort of sketching and those kind of things rather than really fixing things. Sometimes that's just necessary. Whoa. Mikashi69 just followed. Thank you. It's a very good name. Okay, I think that seems to be working. Just gonna put these here. So in this tile set, these numbered tiles here are sort of bespoke tiles, and you can find them in here. I just have like a component where I can assign sort of bespoke tiles that aren't really part of the tile set by default, that I kind of want to instantiate or want to sort of place on that grid as if it were a default thing. And so it allows me to sort of place stuff as if it were part of the grid without having like the entire grid and the objects actually living in the scene. So the reason I'm sort of working with sort of things being stored in data files right now rather than directly stored in the scene is just for modularity, where it's really easy for me to sort of switch the visual style and that kind of stuff for something else. So for instance, right now this is forest stuff, and if I want to switch this out for it to look like a rooftop, I can just do that quite easily like this. And that's something that I want to keep that modularity for now, because I'm far from having defined like what the actual levels are going to be and what the content is going to be for those levels. So I think this seems to be working quite nicely. I think I could add like a tile here because there's something missing. But overall, it seems to be fitting the aspect ratio that we were working with, the sort of tablet aspect ratio. I think I can also add one more row of just tiles at the top here. So we can just maybe do that. Maybe this will do. Let's see. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I haven't really designed this level with this tile set in mind. But we can at least, but yeah, it should be fairly easy to go from one kind of tile set to another. In some levels, the levels that have the rooftop tile set, I have put in like some bespoke elements in those levels just to sort of dress it up a bit more and make it look a bit nicer. So I think this is working now. One thing that I'm kind of annoyed by is you can see this tile like actually completely disappearing behind the sort of opaque tiles. And in the next level, where the level is set up differently, you can actually still see you can see the tiles sort of like poking through like cross-shaped holes, and I really like that. I think that looks kind of cool, but I don't know if I can. It would require some complicated setup to actually have that working in the level where the sort of background is opaque, like over here. So I'm gonna just like not pay attention to that, or try to like not think about that too much. Yeah. So that's these levels sorted. Now this one needs some more like padding here. I think what I need to set up, and I don't really know how I'm going to do this, is actually having some padding basically where like some tiles get added and some tiles get subtracted from the level based on the aspect ratio. So I'd need to mark up tiles to be like non-essential basically, or be marked up as padding, because I'm running into similar issues with the 18:9 aspect ratio. If I refresh, you can see it is actually kind of fine. Well, yeah, I mean, like, I was imagining that you could still have like an additional row of tiles on both sides, left and right. The tablet one is really the most egregiously empty one, I think, so I really need to just put some stuff here. So let's move on to level 7. Save this one. And level 7. Just going to randomly place some tiles, and then later on think about, do I need to not have a tree here, or those kinds of details. Let's see, we're on the correct layer. What if I only add tiles at the top here? Would that just shift the tile set over? Oh. Let's just complete this for now. There's another thing that I really need to fix in this level, which is related to... Oh, actually, no, it's fine. Which is related to the tablet resolution as well, because the tablet is so much bigger. Okay, so it seems to be nice and sort of like snug with the top there. That seems to work quite nicely. just need to do that at the bottom as well. This aspect ratio also causes the problem of people actually following the path with their finger, because the distance is so much bigger that you can just do that more easily. On the phone, you can sort of like fake it a bit more. So what actually happens in like under the hood is that the tiles are only being, or the only thing that I'm taking into account is horizontal lateral movement of the finger rather than up and down. Like up and down is something that I'm basically not taking into account. I'm only taking that into account as a sort of initial vector to determine the direction in which you're moving. But for the actual movement itself, I'm only using movement on the x-axis, and that really simplifies the sort of logic and makes it feel okay, I think, on a phone. But on tablets, this is more of a problem because people really follow the path that is being drawn with their finger, and that means that you're doing this kind of stuff where you're sort of moving backwards. So it's as if I should detect, like, oh, should I be tracking vertical movement at this point, or should I be tracking horizontal movement at this point? I really don't think I'm gonna have the time to get that done right now. Plus I'm also still, as I was saying last time, not really in production or anything, so it's probably okay for now. So this level looks okay, I think. It doesn't have, like, we could add additional tiles to it, but because it's kind of busy with all the water and like all the shapes and those kind of things, I don't think I really need to add much more padding to it. So I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but that's how it is. This one definitely needs some padding, so that's good to know. So we can move on to level 9 after we have finished this one. So we added 2 rows at the top. Let's just do the same, oops, over here. And I kind of want to have to sort of break up the visual, like the way it looks and that kind of stuff. I kind of want to add some of those fence tiles that I was having before, but maybe I should just not really bother. Maybe I can just do it like this. So these tiles are just going to be completely useless. I hope it's not going to obscure too much on this side. Let's have a look. Let's see. Oh. I need some shortcuts to like move to the next level as well. I think that could be useful. So currently I just have a shortcut to reload levels, as well as to slow down time or speed it up. And something that I find really funny is when I slow it down, the game just plays exactly the same as before. Like I can just interact with it exactly as if time scale was set to be the same as the normal time scale. Whoa. Silas, thank you for following me. I hope you enjoy the channel. So let's see, yeah. So it seems to be, so I kind of like the fact that the interaction remains the same, whether you're moving really fast or whether the time scale is going like before or not, like the default or not. Anyway, so this level now seems correct. I don't think this is too annoying. It's a bit of a shame that we're hiding those logs, so maybe I can switch that up a bit as well. Let's have a look. So let's put these logs here and then put a tree like this over here. You could see one of those bugs happening there. Currently dead ends like this really don't work nicely. It's something I really need to solve at some point. Let's just do something like this. All right. Okay. Yeah, this tile could look a bit nicer. I really like the tall sort of grass tiles that I have. The tall like trees that I have. I would like to sort of be able to use that as much as possible because it feels so dense when you have something like this, and I kind of like that. I think this is fine. It'll do. I'm not obscuring these tiles too much, but I think I can like maybe remove this one. I think it's fine. I also need to redo the stumps, the tree stumps, because they don't really read as such. Okay, so that's this level, and level 9. So level 8 we could skip. Level 9 would need some further additional tiles. All right. Let's see. Yes. Okay. Let's have a look. So we're on level 9. It's raining. And this looks fine. Maybe I can break up that barrier over here. Ah, this is kind of funny though. I like how it sort of absorbs the grid, the sort of fence into it as well a bit. That's kind of cool, kind of funny. I think that sort of, yeah, works nicely. I think this space could be opened up to gameplay. I don't think it's really necessary to like silo it off as much as I was doing. So maybe something like this could work. So that way it also like loops over here rather than being sort of like constrained to this axis. I think that sort of is more interesting for gameplay. Leads to more interesting things. Whoop. Okay. That's the end of that level. This sort of base, like, background for the title card screens could do with some additional trees as well on the sides. So yeah, I'm basically just like grooming those levels right now. I think it's like sort of just cleaning up a bit, making sure that they all look fine for a demo. Okay, so this one actually already has reached the sort of size of the map. So maybe we can resize the map. Just add 3 tiles, maybe 2 tiles. So we can add 1 row. Whoops, 5, I mean. 5. And then offset it like this. So we have a bit of a border around like this. I think we only need 1 more tile, right? Let's see. Is this the space for 1 tile? I think it might be. Let's make sure that, let's just add 2 tiles on each side, just to be safe. There's no real cost to doing this anyhow. Oops. X. So this is the sort of end of level tile, and it's completely inaccessible to the player. Whoops. It's not even seen by the player, or like by the sort of randomly moving tiles. So we have all these tiles, all these things are being moved automatically, and they are just being set to move at a random, in a random direction, basically. And this tile here is basically just exists here as a tile just so that we can load the next level, because it's just reusing the same code as what is being used for the level loading in normal regular gameplay, which I find a really funny sort of thing, like just to reuse that code. Just to be safe, I'm just going to add tiles everywhere on all the sides. There we go. I think that should do it. So let's have a look at this level now. I think we should not see any border anywhere. So that's good. Clean. Looks fine. Yeah. I think I'm gonna add some empty tiles though that could potentially move. So as long as the tiles actually move, basically, then I think that's kind of cool. Like, the annoying part was to sort of have like a space where the tiles were just not moving, basically. And at least now it is. So I think I can like remove a tree in front of this. That could be good. Just this one. Let's just remove these tiles like this. Yeah, let's just do that. There we go. I feel like Bob Ross painting little tree friends. Yeah, this is kind of funny. And like this character will end up moving at some point, potentially just randomly, which I find kind of funny. Maybe I can actually move it up a bit or down, just off screen. No, I think it's fine. There we go. Hello. It's funny that it ended up exactly where it started. Okay. Let's add some more rocks everywhere, just to sort of break up the movement a bit of the like random tile movement. There we go. So that just like forces the tiles to sort of move in more random directions. Cool. Maybe I can like set up some portals as well. Just like a random portal over here attached to something over here. A random portal over here attached to this location. And let's see. Oh, that's way too much on the screen. I didn't want those to be on the screen. So I think it's this one. Whoops. Like this, and then okay, so the portal is not on screen anymore. Yep, this is fine. Okay, so we can keep this. I think the entire level sequence is now fine. Let's have a look. Okay. So this is fine, looks okay. So I'm just going to play through it in iPad mode, see if it looks okay. Kind of want to remove these ones that are a bit too far. For now, it's okay. So I thought that the way I wrote the code, the sort of snapping to center of grid thing was sort of being resized based on the actual tiles being used rather than the size of the overall map. But it turns out that it's the actual map size that is being taken into account. So I still need to change this level a bit. Because, whoa, hey, P-Do, thank you for following. Yeah, so I need to still sort of like modify this level, because what people seem to be doing is like they move their finger like this, and then they move their finger up and then back this way, thinking that like it would do what it pretends it's doing. Whereas, as I was saying earlier, the actual sort of movement code is only taking into account lateral movement. And I need to, so what I'm going to do is actually modify the level to sort of make it feel like it's doing what you think it's doing rather than fix the code. And that's because right now I don't want to make my code like break more things than that are already broken, basically. Like I need to like changing a level is less costly than breaking or like making a code change right now. So I'm just going to sort of stick to that. Okay, so this level looks okay as well. This too. I also modified this here a bit the other day, just so that you have less sort of space to actually move in, which makes it more controlled as an environment to sort of showcase what the game is about. So this level is fine. I think I could add like an additional row at the top there. Maybe I don't need to though. I think I could. Okay, so this is level 9. Let's just literally do that right now. I'm just going to add small things at the top. Hi Respotting, welcome back to the stream. Thanks for joining. So reloading the scene doesn't reload the level actually, or the asset, so I can just like refresh it like this, and now I can reload it, and that should do it. No, that doesn't do it either. Just quitting play mode should definitely do it. No. Level 9. Ah, I feel like we can add even an additional row at the top there. So let's just do that. Maybe I just missed adding tiles to this row a second ago. So I think in that case I can also like add some taller things over here. Respotting is asking, just fixing up the last bits and pieces for the vertical slice. When's the deadline? So I don't really have like a hard deadline or anything, nor is this like actually the vertical slice, or I'm mostly thinking about this as a sort of demo showcasing the game basically, but maybe that's what a vertical slice actually is. I don't know. But basically what I'm doing right now is I'm sort of preparing this little demo for like to send it to like a couple of friends and just generally people who would be interested in sort of like seeing this and who would have time to give me some feedback. So if you are interested, you can also send me an email or send me a message on Twitter or anything, and I can add you to the test flight. And basically, I kind of want to try and submit this to Day of the Devs as well, which is in November, and they are accepting builds to sort of review until, or they're basically hoping to select games that they're going to show at the beginning of October. And so I was hoping to send them this build, and I've been sort of like working with that as a sort of like soft deadline for myself. Yeah. Okay, so I think these parts work quite well. Cell says, good luck, thank you. Yeah, let's see what that will turn into. I'm really like being not used to sort of, or maybe you never really get used to sort of this part of making games or anything, but it's always stressful to sort of like make something and then send it out, I guess. Respotting says this would totally gel at Day of the Devs. I hope so. I've actually never been, So it would be really cool. Like I've heard about it like so often as a indie game maker, so I'm like, oh, it's one of those sort of like holy grails of like places where they show really interesting things, and I'm like, if if I can be part of that, that would be like really an honor. Tahiti Pancake is asking, is there a submission form already for Day of the Devs? Yes, there is. Let me try and find it. Um, or maybe you can send me a message and I'll make sure to send it to you if you want, just so that we're avoiding doing that on stream, I guess. But yeah, there is a form. You can look at probably the Double Fine Twitter account or something where they've been talking about it. Cool. All right, so this level now seems better, but it's also now broken because we can move this way, which sort of defeats the point of this level just by sort of going around the portals like this. That's funny. Okay, let's just fix that then. So we have some fence stuff over here. And let's just add a log, like a pile of logs over here. Let's see. Oh, that doesn't really read. Yeah. Okay, first off, there's a big tree on the sort of end of level tile here, and that's not good. We need that to be readable. We can place one behind it over here. Yeah, we can do that. And having the pile of logs is really not readable. So has posted the link, so there you go. That's really useful. Thank you. And Rena Dork says, love the colors. Thank you. It's really the thing that I enjoy doing the most is just like messing around with colors. I don't know, it's something that I find quite relaxing. Okay, so this looks better now. I think those two trees being superimposed over here is not that great though. So I'm just gonna move this like so, maybe. All right. Maybe this tree can be over here rather than being on the edge. So the way I'm sort of like laying out the things, because everything moves anyhow, like it doesn't really matter. It's mostly aesthetic stuff. But I kind of find it important to sort of have an initial placement where you can read things and you can sort of see where things are supposed to be and those kind of things. So this tree can sometimes be a dead tree, which is more sparse in terms of its sort of visual dressing. So I tend to prefer going for the pine tree because it has more sort of it has an outcome that is more that I can count on more easily. But I really like having that as a really simple rule, or like a sort of a thing that happens sort of naturally in making this game, because it's these kinds of like little internal rules that makes you make creative choices. And rather than like fixing that as a problem, like and sort of like equalizing things, I kind of like the fact that it is like, oh, I tend to prefer pine trees because they are visually more dense than the other trees. something that I like. It like as a sort of like when you're creating things, I find it like easier to sort of or like I find it good to have those kinds of internal little rules. Okay, so this level is also done. Let's just play through the sequence again one more time. Welcome to making games, I guess. Composition wise, I think maybe we can change this color palette a bit. Maybe it's just me being sort of like having seen it too much. But I was wondering what would happen if the sort of it was a bit more of a striking color, a bit warmer. Maybe even like real. Something like this, maybe. This is the background color. We don't really want to change that one. No, I'm not sure. So normally, like the sort of color that of things that you interact with is mostly like a sort of orangey yellow or warm yellow. I wonder if like that would work for this level as well. Kind of like it going pink, but I was mostly like I was listening to a lot of Tyler the Creator at that moment, so maybe that's why. Because his latest album had like a pink cover. Yeah, maybe let's just go back to pink a bit. Oh well, I think this is fine. It's okay. This is something that you can tweak until the end of time, I guess. But maybe this is fine. Let's see, there's an error here that I need to fix. Okay. This is fine. Let's see. I kind of want to add like some fireflies as well over here, or like some dragonflies in the water. But it's already kind of dense, so maybe it's not really necessary. What's really necessary anyhow? Okay. So you can see like some of the tiles here do get cut off. So it seems. Because of the sort of like aspect ratio, but these levels seem to work out okay in terms of composition, mostly because there's not much stuff happening like at the top and at the bottom. So that's all right. So let's try and sort of see what we can do with this level a bit more. Just to sort of like reiterate, one problem that this level is causing right now with the sort of iPad resolution is that the movement that you do over here, like when you're following the path with your finger, you end up going back on the x-axis, on the horizontal axis, and the game actually internally interprets that as being or like interprets movement as only being lateral, only being horizontal. And so to sort of accommodate for that, rather than having the path go back like this, maybe I should make this more of an angle and sort of like have an offshoot go off the screen at the top here. That way like it would feel more like a sort of like you're actually sort of like you would have a tendency of moving your finger along that axis and then back over here basically, rather than like having you go back up this way. Maybe that could work. So that's level 6, the level that keeps giving me problems. So let's just see what happens when we do this. Oh yeah, also I modified this, but actually it didn't really affect the level. So just for consistency, we're just going to like add this back in. Let's see. Like this, and then so this way it will sort of like go off into the ocean. Oops. Let's see. How does this feel? Whoops, wrong level. Level 6. Okay, whoa. Okay, so we have this offshoot here. Maybe at this point I can like make it turn upwards or something, or like give it a bit of a twist, because like this straight line is a bit too straight. Does this work? So I need to have 2 tiles between like water and not water, kind of like what's happening over here. Otherwise, like I would need to create a completely new tile altogether to sort of get things to feel correct. And I don't want to do that right now. Again, it's all about sort of like managing how much time you're putting into doing what. Okay, so what if we do this, and then we use this here, like so. Then I guess move these tiles this way. Let's have a look. That's a strange shape. I guess that's okay, maybe. So maybe I could be more sort of like walkway based, kind of what I had in the like earlier levels as well. That would make it a bit more like interesting. Okay, something that I would like to try is sort of like make it go back up again over here. Just sort of see if that feels nice. I hope this isn't too boring as a thing to sort of look at, but because it's just like me tinkering with things, but yeah. Okay, So we have it go this way, and now we also need sort of, oops, go back up as well like this. And then maybe I can make this into a bit more of a walkway sort of layout as well. Let's look into that part later. I just wanted to sort of like give this angle to sort of make it a bit more of a natural type path, as much as possible. I guess this is kind of more interesting. Yeah. Definitely feels more interesting visually. Okay, so now I'm gonna sort of try and like clean up this zone a bit more, sort of make it a bit more sort of walkway based or something along those lines. Let's see. So we can just delete this for now. And we can sort of start to work on, I keep getting on the wrong layer in tiled. So this is where the entry point is. So I think it would be interesting to sort of like have a bit of a walkway or like a sort of path over here. And then this is where the spinny thing is. So maybe we can have something like this. What if this goes? Yeah, maybe this would work. Let's have a look. Let's see if I can. Nope. There we go. Oh no! I think this might be a bit too close here. Like I don't have tiles, as I was mentioning earlier, that would fit this angle. Maybe I can put it over here. Is that weird? It's gonna turn this way. So you actually have to pull from this side. Maybe that's actually interesting. Yeah. Let's see what it feels like. That's the only way that we can know for sure. It works. So like this. I only discovered the sort of, what is this called? Terrain brush tool quite recently in tiled. So I'm not quite used to using it all the time. And also it does sort of like span 3 tiles at once. So sometimes it doesn't really work like in these sort of situations. But it's really nice as well to set up. I'm quite enjoying using tiled. I wish I was an expert. Okay, so the only thing missing here is this side and some just random tiles being spawned up until this point, I think, and up until this point. So now we also need the player characters. So I think it's character number 3. You can see that it has like 3 little dots next to it. That's how I sort of differentiate them. I'm trying to keep this tiled map like as small as possible, but I'm worried that I might have to like end up adding some more rows because I'm like really running out of space here of like tiles that I can use, and I'm worried that that means modifying like every single entry, like every ID for every tile inside of Unity as well. So I'm not looking forward to having to change that, but that's how it is. So let's put the player character here, and let's put the other character here. Yeah, let's see if this works. Like so. Maybe a tree here. Let's see what this feels like. Ooh. That's very dense. And I put the same character in both locations. That's quite a bit too dense, I think. In terms of like size, that does work. But I think like these, it's very noisy in terms of amount of stuff that is happening. So I need to sort of tone it down a bit. Instead of having these, I do like this little outcropping, even though it's not really being used. So maybe I can just like delete this road here and just place one of the two characters over here, and then that way that could work. Yeah, so maybe that would be a funny sort of thing to be using. Whoop, like so. And then we can just delete these tiles like this. And then we can place this character here instead of the other one. I should give them different colors instead of a number because that's not really helping legibility for me. Like this, that should do it. Then we can add a bit more, like make it slightly sparser on this side. Something like this. Yeah, utilizing that sort of like randomness in the tile map creation really helps with sort of keeping it interesting for myself as well. I have a tendency, as you probably noticed earlier, with the sort of color palette stuff. Like I have a tendency of wanting to change things really way too often when I get used to it. So like the fact that it's a bit random like can really help, for me at least, making it like keeping it interesting for me, which is kind of important as well. Oops. Delete this, delete this. And I think with this, we will have a sequence of levels that will feel, I hope, better than what I had before. So this is kind of cool, I think. I kind of like the way it looks. I think you can like maybe have a bit of a like remove some stuff over here. What if all of this is water? Let's just try it. Let's just remove all of this and move all of these tiles. Ooh. Here we go. Oops. Something like this. What is that like in gameplay? Oh. Yeah, just causing too many problems. Yeah, it's a shame. What if it's just one walkway this way? Or over here even? Let's see if it's just one walkway this way. So why was it broken here? Oh. I'm working on the wrong layer again. Sorry, maybe that was a bit loud. Cut and paste. Oh yeah, that was why. There we go. Remove this part. Why is it all weird? I wanna. I don't know. Let's just manually place it. There we go. I think this is the correct size. And then I can maybe like sort of make it even thinner this way. Yes. Okay. Let's see how this feels. This is not as broken, so that's good. Kind of like this little barrier here that we have. Yeah, like the biggest, like I think I could do a better job at tutorializing this level. Am I breaking things? I think it's okay. Yeah, I think I could do a better job at like having some tutorialize, like making this a bit more of a tutorial level, but I think it's also fine for it to just be a bit more free form like this. Let's just remove this row here. And then that'll do. Or like make it turn maybe, that could be a fun one. So we have a couple of tiles being used already. So we have 1, 3, and 4, but we don't have 2 And I think we have number 2 assigned here already, which is like the horizontal tile. So we can already like basically use it as is. Let's just do this. Let's go all the way to the end. Do we want to go all the way to the end? Maybe we don't. Sounds like it's actually... let's just keep it simple. Let's just keep it simple. Copy this, oops, copy this, paste it. Let's just keep it simple like this. Kinda don't like this tile either. Oops. Yeah, I need to set up something where I can just like easily hot load in new levels as well. Okay, so right now the level is, I think this is better. It's definitely very different from what I had earlier. Not sure about this corner now. Okay, so you make this like spinny wheel spin, and then once you've done that, then you get a bit more of a puzzle here. Okay, I think that works. Cool, okay, that feels better, I think. Let's push some stuff. How about that? So let's push the levels first off. And apparently we made some changes to some other stuff. Let's review this. So this is the color modifications that I did to the color palette. We want to change that as well. Did some prefab changes. And let's see, what is this? Maximum graphic. I don't think that's really important right now. Discard. Yes. Changes to water reflection prefab. Discard. There we go. More water reflection stuff. Discard. So we didn't make some changes to... Whoa! Whitlock just raided with 24 viewers. Well, thank you for a raid. I don't know what that means, but welcome everyone. Hello, Sislor. I've never been raided before. Thank you everyone for being here. I was currently doing some Git cleaning, but maybe I can show you what I've been working on instead. This is very unexpected. Yeah, welcome everyone. So I've been working on this like little demo for like sort of a mobile game that I'm working on. I can unmute the audio even. Yes, it's the Unity Light team indeed. And thank you for my beard. Yeah, so this is a little mobile game that I'm working on where you sort of slide some tiles around, and I'm currently making a little demo that I want to sort of submit to various places. And the whole idea is that you can sort of like move the little ghosts on different axes of a grid. Oops, just reload this scene. Cell says, I'm heading out now, but thank you for streaming. Thank you. Thank you for checking in. Talk to you later. So yeah, this is sort of how this like sliding puzzle, basically a sliding puzzle game kind of works. Sometimes you would encounter different characters like this one here, and you would basically need to sort of move both of those to the door, and that's sort of like how this is working right now. And I was sort of working on making some adjustments to the levels for the iPad resolution, because like mobile, you kind of have different aspect ratios to deal with, and it's kind of annoying. But yeah, so this is one other level where you have like this sort of twisty tile thing, and you end up with sort of puzzles that are kind of close to how Rubik's cubes work. Sizzlor says the art style is interesting. Thank you. I really wanted to make something that kind of looks like a screen print, but interactive, so you can sort of like do things like change the colors or mess around with the layers, etc. So yeah, that's this, and yeah, there are sometimes portals that have directionality, where you can sort of like move through the portal on different axes, and yeah, that's sort of like what the extent of this demo is right now. And yeah, I think this is basically, I was about to actually end this stream because I think I'm done with the sort of like sequence that I wanted to sort of build on stream. So I'm just gonna like sort of clean this up here, make sure that it's all pushed properly, and yeah. Lolo says, looks really good, thank you. Makes me happy to hear that. Really means a lot. So I made some changes to these levels, so I'm just going to push what is in here. I'm not sure what this is. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's good. Okay. So luckily things don't really break with when it's on a server somewhere else. So that's good. But okay. So let's see, this one needed to be pushed as well. Some graphic settings stuff from when I made a build earlier. Tilikan just followed me, thank you. Thanks for following the channel, and thanks for the kind words. Yeah, so let's see, let's just write down what we just did. Level, so 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, and 9. What else did we do? And title screen. There we go. And then we also did color changes to gray color palette changes, and that's about it. I think anything that is what is noteworthy in here. Yeah, let's see. What's next? Let's have a look at my task list. Fix player 2 and 3 GUIDs breaking all the time. That's done. Levels centered are centered properly on the screen. That's also actually done. I should have done this earlier. Make game work properly for iPad. That needs to be tested, but that's basically what I've been looking into. Improve interactions. I've basically, so by sort of moving the level geometry around a bit, it sort of improved, I think, the way you interact with it in game. Like, it feels a bit more natural. So I sort of circumvented improving these interactions, but I'm gonna put it in my doing column anyhow. Make game work properly for iPhone. We can look into that later. Set up fake test flight and then set up real test flight. We're getting closer to actually having it on test flight, I guess. Sisler says, oh, you use Notion. Yes, I really like it. I think it's kind of nice. It's a bit too bright for my eyes from time to time, but it seems to do everything that I want it to do, despite sometimes having loading times being a bit egregious, but it's kind of nice. Alright, so I think that'll do it for this stream. I've been streaming for an hour and a half now. You can find more information about what I'm working on Twitter mostly. Hopefully in the future I'll have a website up as well, but all of that will have to sort of come together in the future. Don't hesitate to sort of send me a message if you have any questions or anything, any like information that you would want to have on what is going on here. Thank you for sticking around, and have a great day, everyone. How do I turn this off? Goodbye.